Before I begin, I want to briefly talk about And, the extended play that preceded this. This 6-track EP captured everything that made the Chief special. It's well written, well produced, and after the somewhat disappointment of Heart, it was nice to see a clear and even powerful return to form for the Chief. I give it an 8 out of 10. I bring this up because it was much better than the actual album. This album isn't great, you guys. I hesitate to say it's not good, because it still has your phenomenal delivery and writing moments. And also, this album is much better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a mediocre 5 out of 10 album, and it isn't that at all. Honestly, it's a miracle the album came out as good as it did. At least here, it surpassed my expectations, unlike Heart. For the most part, this album completely walloped Heart. It was very, pun intended, soulful. Out of all the promotional singles released, Leonard Skinner Jones is still my favorite. It's very light with its chords and vocal performance and lets the words carry all the emotional weight, which is Eric Church at his finest. I can't express the magic this song has. Hell of a View is fine. Like, seriously, talk about overrated songs. This honestly might be more overrated than Driver's License now that I think about it. No, I will not take that back, because at least with that song, more people recognize its flaws. Here, people treat Hell of a View like a golden god, and they're the type of people that just listen to country radio and literally nothing else. It's the round here buzz of this era, something people really enjoy, but it's definitely the least meaty in terms of quality. New song wise, the album opens up with Rock and Roll Found Me, and I literally laughed, as this song feels like an off-brand copy of Mr. Misunderstood. I didn't do a direct comparison in my Heart review, but this album doesn't get to come off scot-free. Rock and Roll Found Me is basically the same song. All it does is subtract from the original, taking away all the fluidity, all the earnest writing, the powerful delivery. It's literally a joke when compared to the original. The next song actually decides to get creative. Look Good and You Know It is this album's Hard to Forget. Really fun, really catchy, and has only one good line in its entire runtime. It's still better than Hard to Forget because Lord Almighty, this track absolutely knocks it out of the park vocally and makes up for its lack of any real powerful writing. Brightside Girl is very peculiar. I think the verses of this song are the best verses of any song, Heart and included. But the chorus is so repetitive and tedious, and it gets me really mad. It was on the verge of greatness. It was this close. Where I Wanna Be takes the cake for the best written song on the album, having some of the most descriptive verses of any Eric Church song. You know what, scratch that. It's just the general best song on the album. Jenny, while really repetitive with his lyricism, takes me back to the days of Desperate Man, which, if you know me, is phenomenal. I think if it was more story-driven and eased up on using Jenny in the song, boom, instant 9 out of 10. But until then, it's great. And after all the praise I've just given, you're thinking, what is the problem with this album? It has everything I love about Eric Church. It's a phenomenally well-delivered album, the writing for it beats the ever-loving crap out of Heart, and I honestly can emote to a lot of the songs. But the two songs that absolutely suck degrade the entire album. I'm sorry, y'all enjoy when I trash something like Keith Urban or Carrie Underwood, but I'm not gonna be biased now. Bad Mother Trucker and Break It Kinda Guy are just awful. Did you want me to weep with joy? They're terrible. First off, Break It Kinda Guy. It so obviously wants what Desperate Man has. Something so musically distinct, something so catchy, but it falters in every avenue. The writing is aimless, but to its credit, so is Desperate Man. The vocals on it are just pure cringe. It might honestly be a strong contender for the worst Eric Church song. Bad Mother Trucker, on the other hand, do I really need to say why it's garbage? You know, 9 out of 10 cheap corny puns I enjoy, but every 1 out of 10 just kills the song. It suffers from the same problems Break does, but at least with that song, I can sense they actively tried with it. But here, don't make me laugh. You know, I don't like calling Eric Church songs awful. It pains every fiber in my body. As a whole, the album still suffers from problems Heart does. It doesn't have a core message, there's no ideology with the writing overall. It's far more consistent quality-wise after you surgically remove the two pieces of crap. I think it has a core sound compared to Heart, and writing-wise overall, it does beat it as well. But with these two awful songs, I cannot justifiably say it's better than Heart. The highs of this album are really high. Look Good, You Know It, and Where I Wanna Be are songs I will constantly revisit. If those two were merely decent like Rock and Roll Found Me, I wouldn't hesitate to say it's better. It's just an enigma of an experience. It has all the hallmarks of greatness where you remember that this is in fact an Eric Church album, but it is filled with so much crap it ruins the overall package. I'm giving Eric Church's Soul a 6.7 out of 10, and if you keep track with how I score things, this is now the weakest project Eric Church has ever done. Now that I've listened to all three, averaging out the ratings, Heart and Soul is a 7.3 out of 10, so technically The Outsiders is still the weakest album. I'm hoping this album can grow on me, I really do, but until then, that's enough Eric Church for a while.